After the fall of Constantinople to the Turkish Ottoman Empire in 1453, the Muslim kingdom closed off the Silk Road, which was the main route of trade between Europe and Asia at the time. As a result, importation of valued items such as silk and spices into Europe became difficult, and the Europeans had to do something about it. Decades later, the Spanish Empire decided to fund the Italian explorer Christopher Columbus to find a new route to the Far East. By this time, ship construction and navigation had improved sufficiently, and Columbus, knowing that the Earth was round, intended to voyage towards the west, where he would pass through the Western Hemisphere, then turn around to meet Asia from the other side. On August of 1492, he set sail from Spain with a crew of 90 men and 3 ships, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. After spending 10 weeks on sea, Columbus and his men sighted a land from afar. They would settle on this land, and Columbus would call it San Salvador, meaning Holy Savior. Luckily for Columbus, in no time, he had just discovered a new route for trade, just as the Spanish and Europe as a whole had expected of him. Soon enough, Columbus was ready to return to Europe. Since one of his ships, Santa Maria, had been wrecked, Columbus took Nina, one of the other ships, and leaving 39 members of his crew behind, he sailed away. In March of 1493, he arrived in Spain, where he announced his discovery. Despite the thrill of Columbus discovering a new route to Asia, actually it wasn't so. Unbeknownst to Columbus, the land he had earlier arrived at with his crew was not an Asian territory, but rather one of America, a strange continent at the time. On his return to Europe, Columbus is said to have taken with him somewhere between 10 to 25 Native Americans, along with gold and native plants, to show the Europeans how rich and diverse the foreign land was. Also in the letter he wrote to King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella, in addition to announcing his discovery, he is believed to have stated the following in part: "They are destitute of arms, which are entirely unknown to them, and for which they are not adapted, not on account of any bodily deformity, for they are well made, but because they are timid and full of terror. On the 33rd day after leaving Cadiz, I came into the Indian Sea, where I discovered many islands inhabited by numerous people. I took possession of all of them for our most fortunate king by making public proclamation and unfurling his standard, no one making any resistance. The island called Juana, as well as the others in its neighborhood, is exceedingly fertile. It has numerous harbors on all sides, very safe and wide, above comparison with any I have ever seen. Through it flow many very broad and health-giving rivers, and there are in it numerous very lofty mountains. All these islands are very beautiful and of quite different shapes, easy to be traversed and full of the greatest variety of trees reaching to the stars, thereby indicating conquest and colonization. Soon enough, Columbus and the Spanish began preparing for a second voyage to America, the purpose of which was to convert the natives to Christianity. Before the Italian explorer sailed for America, he was instructed by King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella to form and retain a good, even friendly relationship with the Native Americans. During his second voyage, Columbus was shocked at what he found. The area where he had left 39 of his crew members earlier was destroyed, their forts burnt to ashes, and worst of all 39 men were dead. The atrocity is said to have been committed by natives of the neighboring tribe who were provoked by the crew's actions, but one can't be quite certain of which tribe or persons in particular did so. Columbus would go on to explore more territories and would end up claiming and naming many regions of the New World. Later on, with the help of Pope Alexander VI, a treaty titled the Treaty of Tordesillas was formulated in 1494 to divide the newly discovered worlds between Spain and Portugal. Not long, Spain was able to conquer and control most of America, including half of South America, most of North America, and nearly all of Central America, coercing its natives to give up resources, enslaving them, and establishing missions in various locations to help convert the New World into a Christian land. Despite all efforts by Spain, they were unable to colonize the American land quite as successful. Christopher Columbus would die on May of 1506, probably still convinced that he had discovered a new route to the Far East. He would be remembered in history as the discoverer of the New World, America. In the 100 years that followed Columbus's discovery of America, several European countries, including Spain, Portugal, and France, exerted influence in one part of the land or the other, sometimes for different purposes. Spain wanted the riches and to convert the natives to Christianity. The Portuguese wanted to expand Catholicism and trade spices and gold. And the French established the New France mainly for the purpose of trade and extraction of raw material to sell in Europe. But where was England in all these? England was faced with great religious crisis in the 16th century, which got them occupied there by one way or the other, distracting them from the goals of the New World. King Henry VIII had rebelled against the papal authority when the Pope refused to annul his marriage, putting the Church of England under the control of the Crown in lieu of the Pope. The religious dispute continued for years. It wasn't until the reign of his daughter, Queen Elizabeth I, that the English side turned their focus towards America. But by this time, it was already late. Spain and France had taken control of most of the American land, and Spain in particular, at the time, controlled vast territories and was the most dominant power in Europe. However, this did not stop Britain. During the Dutch Revolt of 1568 to 1648 against Spain, Queen Elizabeth I in August of 1585 entered an agreement with the rebels, the Treaty of Nonsuch, which involved England assisting the Netherlands in their revolt. Annoyed by this, King Philip II of Spain took the matter seriously. In 1588, he raised a Spanish fleet to invade England. However, prior to the invasion, in 1587, the English authorities had suspected that the King of Spain was planning something not good, probably an attack. They soon confirmed their suspicion, and not long, Queen Elizabeth I sent Francis Drake, an English explorer, to perform a preemptive assault on the Spanish fleet amidst preparation. Drake did as he was instructed and was successful. The Spanish fleet was delayed for months, giving the British time to prepare. In addition to putting an end to England's support of the Dutch, King Philip II also aimed to reinstate Catholicism in England and prevent any further raid by English and Dutch privateers on New Spain through this battle. By July of 1588, the Spanish fleet was ready and was called Spanish Armada, aka the Invincible Armada or the Enterprise of England. It consisted of about 130 ships, 18,000 soldiers, and was led by the Duke of Medina Sidonia. In total, the Spanish Empire brought about 137 ships and 55,000 men, while England had approximately 197 ships and 16,000 men. The battle Philip II had planned happened, just not the way he intended. The English troops were prepared. They brought their own ships, with Lord Howard of Effingham and Sir Francis Drake at the forefront, beat the Spanish fleet and won the battle. After the battle, the English grew more confident and felt strong enough for future endeavours in the New World. For Spain, however, it was quite the opposite. This defeat was shameful and degrading, thereby putting their grip over America at stake.